Yo, 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 what's going on, peeps? Shwat up, beaches. No bullshit, bro.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, 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 test, test, test. Testing, 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 test, 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 testing, test ickles, testing, test ickles, test ickles, testing, 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 test ickles. Welcome everyone to episode 909 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gaincast, mancast, pimpcast, sleevescast, slaycast, and taintcast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What is going on, beaches? Welcome to Thursday. And we're going to throw it back Thursday style. We're going to throw it back to the booty. We're going to do the real throwback. We're going to throw it back to the glutes. So the glutes are going to get the throwback. The glutes are the throwback. Welcome everyone to episode 909. Thanks for joining me live. Those of you that are joining me live, let's see. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube. What is going on? What up? Oh, what is good? What is good today, fam? Excited for tonight. Those of you that are already in Swolenormous X, remember we got the glute masterclass. Glute masterclass coming up in a few hours. So those of you that are already in Swolenormous X, remember we're going to be streaming it live in the private Facebook group. And it will also be uploaded into the masterclass section on swolenormousx.com. So if you can't catch it live, you're going to be able to access it later on in your library. So you'll be able to access it there. But join live. You definitely want to be there live because we're going to do a lot of Q&A. I'm going to answer a lot of questions. So it's going to be very conversational. It's going to be very casual. It's going to be a lot of great information. We're really going to do. It's kind of going to be like a daily swole. It's going to be like this, but I'm going to have videos up on the screen and we're going to break down a bunch of different exercises and really discuss how to activate the glutes properly because it's, and I want to talk about it today. I want to kind of get everyone warmed up. I want to get the juices flowing. I want to get everyone, salivating for the masterclass tonight. We're going to warm it up because I know not everyone will be able to make it. Unfortunately, not everyone's going to be in the Swolenormous X fam tonight, but I encourage you to do so. I put the links in the description. There's a link in my bio on IG. There's a link in the post description here. You can go and you can still get in. Just make sure you don't wait till the last second because I need to admit you into the group. I need to get you in and make sure everything, in case there's any hiccups or sometimes people join and they misspell their email and they're emailing me. So don't wait till 8:00 to sign up, because then I don't have any time to facilitate you and get you in time. So make sure you do so now or in the next hour or two. You can go to swolenormousx.com, 7-day free trial, and you can jump in and be in there tonight. And that'd be awesome. Looking forward to having you. So the booty. What better way to get the end of the week kind of going? I know a lot of you probably went out last night for Halloween. Any grown-ass adults go out for Halloween last night? Any of you grown-ass peeps go out for Halloween? You probably saw a lot of glutes last night. You probably saw a lot of bad glutes. Maybe you saw good glutes. If you live in South Florida and you went down to like South Beach or something, you probably saw some good glutes. But Halloween is turned into like slut-oween. It's just pretty much everyone's excuse to wear next to nothing, which is not a problem. It is for some people. You don't want to see some people wearing next to nothing, but a lot of people wear next to nothing and they're wearing all sorts of costumes and lack thereof, just pretty much nudity. It's pretty much public nudity. That's what Halloween has become. And that's not necessarily a problem, like I mentioned. But when it comes down to the glutes, big glutes aren't always good glutes. And you know this because you see it. You know that trunk can pack a lot of cottage cheese. I don't think I'm speaking to a wall here, all right? I think I'm preaching to the choir. Everyone knows that just because your trunk, you got a big trunk, doesn't mean that trunk is filled with muscle. There is a lot of fat on there, and some people like that. So we're not talking sexual preference. I don't care if you like a fat ass or a skinny ass or a flat ass. I really don't care. Sexual preference is not a concern right now. You can like whatever you want. That's fine. I don't care if you like what you like, who you like, color, height, men, women, doesn't matter. That's not the actual concern here. We're talking about what the glute is actually made of. Is the glute muscular? And not only that, because sometimes it can be deceiving. You might see people that have muscular glutes. You might yourself have muscular glutes. And this is a very, very, very important point. And I want to make this exceptionally clear. Listen carefully. Just because you have a muscular butt, you might have strong glute muscles. You might have muscle. You might slap your own ass and be like, that's tight shit. It does not mean that it is activated. It does not mean that it is functioning. That's a new word. We're going to add that. I'm like Shakespeare, just creating fucking words. It does not mean that it is functioning properly. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean that it's functioning properly. And in order for the glutes to function properly, they need to be integrated properly. So not only is it important, it's great to have strong glutes. You want to have muscle in your butt. You don't want to just have like a bunch of fat there. You want to have strong glutes. You want to have muscle there. However, you need to make sure that your body and your brain and your entire system understands when to use it and how to use the glute musculature. And what we find, or what comes around as a result of repetitive movements, sitting down too often, being in a car, sitting at home, improper form at the gym. We do things every day that we don't even notice. It's the things that we do every day that we don't notice that are so over and over and over again, that are so repetitive that it just becomes background noise. And I'll make an analogy. Those of you that have children, or those of you that live in a city, or those of you like putting on your seatbelt when you get into the car. Have you ever been driving and it just crosses your mind? You think about, have you ever tried to remember putting on your seatbelt when you're in the car once you're already driving? Like, did I put I don't remember putting that on, because it's so automatic. You get in, you pull it, you click it in, and you're driving. You don't even remember consciously. Like, you can vaguely, okay, you put it on, but you don't remember putting your seatbelt on. And that's because it's so automatic. It's so automatic, it just becomes background noise. When you have kids, the loud, the screaming. When you don't have children, it's like, oh, it's so fucking annoying. Baby's crying and screaming and this. When you're a parent, it becomes background noise. It doesn't even bother you anymore because you're so used to it. And of course, your ears perk up when you hear the certain types of screams or the certain types of laughter. The screaming that's playing, the screaming that's crying, all those things. So the background noise, that white noise, just that applications running in the background, that's what happens with the body. And the constant sitting. Think about this. If you're sitting for 5 hours a day, how often do you think you're sitting? Let's do a little survey. How many hours a day, honestly, and I'm talking about an approximate. You're not going to have, I know you're not hitting a timer. How many hours a day are you sitting down? How many hours a day? And add them all up. In the car, at home, eating, watching TV, at the computer, at work. How many days are you, or how many hours in a day, on average, are you in a seated position with the hip flexed and the knees flexed? Just put that in the comments right now while we continue and while I'll read them out. So what do you approximate? Approximate you're seated, specifically sitting down, not lying down, not standing, not exercising, literally in a seated position. And I'll give you a moment to put that down. And this is important because this is your daily life. This is your daily life. This is what you're doing on a daily basis. You're sitting down. You're sitting down. And this is something that happens all the time. I want to show you a comparison. And this is why the glutes become so deactivated. This is why specifically activation is an important process, because of what activation does. Remember, I talked about at the beginning of this episode, I was discussing a big ass doesn't mean a strong ass. A muscular ass doesn't mean an activated ass. Just because you have a muscular butt or a big butt and there's not a lot of cottage cheese doesn't mean it's doing what it should be doing. Doesn't mean it's participating in your body's movement as a whole system, integrated function. It doesn't mean it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I got 15 hours, 5 to 6, desk job, 4 hours, seated 8 to 10. I work in retail, so I stand for 9+ hours. Standing can also be similar. We're not going to talk specifically about standing. I want to know how much you're sitting, just for this argument, like for this point, because we all sit down at some point, so we understand what sitting down means. I don't want to get too technical with all the other things, but specifically sitting, 2 or 3 hours. I probably sit for a few. I'm sure you do. If you stand for 9 hours, I'm sure you sit down as soon as you can. So 4 hours. Okay, so think about this. Let's just take, I know some of you are going to do 8, 12, and to be real, most of you that are approximating, chances are you are undershooting how often you sit down. You don't really think about it. You just go through your life. So having you actually think, oh, how long do I sit down? You don't really have a good gauge unless you know, okay, I go to work from 9 to 5 and I'm sitting at a desk. You have a little bit of a better idea, but chances are you're sitting down a lot more than you think you are. And I want you to think about now. All right. Now, this is obviously going to be funny. For most of you, it's going to be like, well, 0. How many hours a day do you spend doing glute activation exercises? Specifically glute activation exercises or any kind of isolated glute work or stretching your hip flexors or stretching. Just think about this. All right. Most of you is going to be maybe less than an hour. No one's doing 2 hours a day. So you can't even tell me you're doing 2 hours a day. Maybe you do it for a little bit as a warm up. Maybe you're doing it one day, but chances are it's going to be 0 to maybe 30 minutes. Chances are if you do it at all, which is never. Yeah, most people it's going to be never. And just be honest. I'm not going to criticize you. That's why we're doing this, right? That's why I'm here with the podcast. That's why I'm doing the masterclass, because I want to share this with you. I don't expect everyone to be like, oh, I'm an expert. I'm not going to be telling you shit that you already fucking know. All right. And if you do it already, great. I'm going to help you do it better. Okay. So 30 minutes a day. You do 30 minutes a day, Mary? That's awesome. If that's true, good. All right, cool. Joining a bit late. What can you do while you sit? You have an office job. You can't really do too much while you sit. You can do upper body stuff. It's kind of hard to do glute activation stuff while you sit, but I definitely recommend you checking out the masterclass tonight, Ramon, for sure. So probably, let's just assume that let's just say you do none. 0 to 30 minutes. Okay. Now, Eric is saying, I hit glutes directly on leg day. Okay. And then 5 days with walking hills with the dog. Yeah, but that's still not activating your glutes. So when you're walking, and that's a great example. I appreciate the comment, Eric. When you're walking, that's an integrated movement. It's not activation. So because of this constant hip flex position, because of this constant locked in a glute lengthened and pressured situation. Remember, not only are the glutes lengthened when you're sitting down, there's also pressure. You're constantly massaging because there's so much pressure on the nerves when you're sitting. Your body, your brain shuts down activity to the glutes. Your body does not have to activate the glutes and have the glutes firing and ready to fucking work when you're sitting on them. Your glutes aren't participating in your existence when you're sitting on them. You're crushing them. You're squeezing them. It's like a massage. You ever get a massage and after getting some pressure for a while, all of a sudden the muscles loosen up and relax? That's what the glutes are doing when you sit. They shut down. They stop playing the game. They stop participating. And when you're sitting down all the time, they stay turned off all the time. And it's interesting because if you're sitting down for 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 hours a day, when you get up and you start to walk around or you want to do a leg workout or you want to do whatever, your glutes don't just all of a sudden, oh, I'm walking, they turn on. No, they stay turned off. They don't just fire right away because you're never turning them back on specifically. You would think, hey, I'm walking, I'm going to be using my glutes. And yes, to be honest, you are using your glutes. However, they are not working the way they should. You're using more of your hamstrings. You're using more of your lower back. You're using more of your calves. You're using more of other body parts, not the ones that should be stabilizing the hips most. And the problem when you lose activation with your glutes is that everything else starts to fall apart. When you have weak or imbalanced glutes, you start to have back problems. You start to have knee problems. You even start to have things like plantar fasciitis. You have things like neck problems, shoulder problems, because everything that the glutes control and that the glutes protect and the glutes keep with their integrity radiates upwards and also radiates downwards. So if the glutes are dysfunctional, let's call deactivated and shut down glutes, let's call them sleeping, right? They're dysfunctional. When you have a dysfunctional hip situation because the glutes aren't playing the game, you're going to have issues above the hips and below the hips. You're going to have issues from the things that stem from the hips going downwards and upwards. And the glutes are the king of the jungle. If the glutes are not engaging and working the way they should, integrated, function with the rest of the body, you're going to have issues. And most of you have had lower back problems. How many of you deal with constant lower back pain or lower back injury, or have had lower back injury or pain in your life? And be honest, if you're dealing with it now. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm going to cure all your pain. I'm not talking about pain. I go for the source. Okay? If you have an imbalance, it's going to wreak havoc on your lower back. It's going to put pressure on your lower back. It's going to put a lot of pressure on those extensors in your lower back. It's going to cause pressure between L4 and L5, L5 and S1. That's why a lot of you have bulging discs, herniated discs, problems, sciatic issues, because you have this fundamental imbalance. And I want you to think about this. Let's expand on this. Let's blow this up a little bit more. If you are sitting, okay, for 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday, that's 25 hours a week. That's 100 hours a month. That's 1,200 hours a year. Okay. So if you do that times 10 years and you get, okay, fuck, that's like, 10,000, or 12,000 hours over the course of 10, 20 years, then you're going to have more. You can see how these problems get exacerbated, not to mention you're also doing random activity. Now, if you're not ever targeting the glutes and firing them and activating them individually, they never turn on. They're never going to play well with others. They're never going to actually integrate properly with your body because you never focused on balancing that out, that fundamental issue. Okay. Shane, yes, all those things you've listed, back, knee, foot pain. And this is not to say that just because you have foot pain, it's coming from your glutes. And this is not to say that just because you have knee pain, it's coming from your glutes. And this is also not to say that just because you have back pain, the glutes are the problem. There are many different factors. However, it's very, very common that if you have back pain, even if you have back pain from some other kind of issue or movement or impact, activating the glutes and focusing on glute activation usually will help with that, because that extra stabilization in the pelvis, that extra stabilization for the femur, the extra stabilization for the spine will always be better. It's always a good thing. It's always a fucking good thing to have activated glutes, to be doing corrective exercise. Whether or not you have an injury or not, it's always good. You never, oh, my glutes are too activated. Not going to happen. You'll never have, oh, I train my glutes too much. You're not going to. You're not going to overtrain your glutes. Oh, my hips are way too stable. No, but my core is way too stable. My core is way too strong. No, it doesn't happen like that. All right. New sign in the bathroom, glute activation room. Uh-oh. Eric, does standing up, taking breaks, squeezing your glutes and stretch help? Of course. I mean, standing up, taking breaks and squeezing your glutes, you can stand up and do glute activation. You could stand up and do a single leg balance. You could stand up and do a single leg squat. You can stand up and do, absolutely. That's what activation and glute activation is all about. Now, it's not just as much as just standing up and squeezing. It's not that simple, but that definitely, of course, it helps. If you're not sitting down on them and you're using them, it's going to be better. Standing is better than sitting. However, just standing around, let's say you're a cashier or you work retail and you're just standing, that's not good either. Standing in one place, everyone likes, oh, standing desks, I'm going to stand in one spot. That's not good either, just to stand in one place all the time. When you're at a standing desk, you're more likely to walk around, but just being in one position is not good for the body. It's an improvement per se, but the human body is not supposed to be in one spot, period, standing or sitting. So it's one step closer, but it's not actually like the goal. It's just getting you more vertical. It's not putting a lot of pressure on your lower back as when you're sitting down. But just because you're standing, don't think that you're in the clear. Oh, well, I stand. I don't sit down, so I'm fine. It doesn't matter. You're still going to try to take a load off, arch your back. You're going to lean into the desk. If you've ever had a standing desk, a lot of people kind of like slump into it. They lean into it. They lean to one side. So you're still biasing one side. You're still taking pressure off. And your body's always trying to look for the easy way out. Always. Your body doesn't want to work harder. That's why it's hard to build muscle. Your body doesn't want to break itself down. It doesn't want to do work. It wants to relax. Your body wants to chill. If there's an easier road, your body wants to take it. Imagine when you're pouring water out of a glass. When you're pouring water out of a glass, it's going to flow the easiest direction, won't it? It's not going to go uphill in all these different directions. If it can just go slope, boom. Anytime you pour a glass of water out, like a water slide, it's going to go down the easiest path. It's not going to run uphill against gravity because that's harder. You can create a machine to pump the water against gravity, right? But that takes energy. That takes work. Okay, you're putting energy into the system to move it against gravity. Water is always going to find the easiest path, the shortest path, the least resistance, the path of least resistance. And your body will always move with the path of least resistance. So if you can lean one direction, if you can take pressure off the muscles, if you can rest more, your body wants to do that. Your body is designed to always be in motion, but it's also designed to conserve energy and to survive. And in a world where we don't have scarcity of food, we don't necessarily have to worry about energy expenditure. And that's why people get so fucking fat, because there isn't a risk of starvation. We have way too much food. We have way too much food and we're kept from moving. It's so fucking simple and basic. Weight management. It really is. If you're eating real food, forget the fucking keto, vegan, all these things. If you just eat real food and get rid of all the fake shit and just start moving more, you're going to be in like 1,000 times better than the average American. Literally, that's how simple it is. We don't have enough scarcity with food and we don't move enough. So if we make food a little bit more scarce and move more, magic. Now we fucking lose weight. Shocker. So fucking shocked. Oh, wow. I didn't know that would happen. It's the basics. Okay. So, you didn't see fat cavemen because they couldn't find their fucking food, or they had to burn 20,000 calories to kill a dinosaur, right? Or a buffalo or a mammoth, all those things, right? When's the last time? And here's the thing. We talk about bows and arrows, and some of you go hunting and stuff. Okay, you use like a professional bow. You'll use a rifle. Imagine going and hunting with your friends like, hey, I'm hungry. You want to get some food? Cool. And you grab your spears and you go looking for buffalo. Have fun with that shit. Can you imagine how many fucking calories and how much energy, how much time? Not to mention you didn't have refrigeration, so you had to literally like gut all the stuff, carry it back, and eat it as much as you could while it's fresh, and they had to go hunt some more. It's nuts. It's nuts the amount of physical energy it would take to get food, period, or go gather it. So just because you have big glutes doesn't mean they're firing, and never underestimate how much you're sitting down, how much your body has swung the other direction in terms of activity. So it's very, very important to be aware that the glutes need attention. You need to be directly addressing all this constant sitting so you avoid the problems from the lack of integration, from the lack of activity. You don't want to have lower back pain. Most people have lower back pain at least once in their life. This kind of stuff can be largely avoided if you are taking the human body and the posture and everything we're talking about now seriously. Mary, anytime is a good time to activate the glutes. Washing dishes, watching TV, brushing your teeth, anytime is a good time. Simply enough, if you just do like a single leg balance while you're brushing your teeth, or you're at line at the supermarket, you're activating your glutes. You're doing some stabilization work. Again, we're going to talk about all this stuff tonight because, we have all this content and all these exercises in Swolenormous X. I'm always constantly updating new instructional videos, but I always like to do these master classes and do these tutorials to go into it a little bit more and to answer a lot of questions, because it's one thing to know, oh, this exercise exists. It's another thing to question, okay, how many reps do I do? When should I do it? Which one is best for me? After I'm done with this one, which one should I go to next? And, as long as you're aware of these exercises, aware that they exist, aware of your body, and that's what meditation, that's what yoga does, that's what stabilization training does. That's the benefit of doing everything that we talk about here on the Daily Swole all the time. It teaches you to be more aware of your body. So when you have an imbalance, when you have tightness and you have stiffness and you're sitting down extra long one day, you're aware, man, I'm sitting down so much. I got to do some yoga and stretching when I get home. That's fine. It's not good to sit all day long, but I understand if you're an accountant, for example, or you do any kind of like sitting for a long period of time, you don't have a choice. Okay, unless you get a standing desk. I mean, you're still in one spot. That's your job. That's what you do. Okay? That's what you do. But if you're aware of what it's doing, most people aren't aware. They don't even think about it. If you're aware that that's the situation, then you make an active effort before, after, during your training and stuff at home in order to balance it out. And you will be light years ahead of the game. You will fix so many problems. You will prevent so many issues from even occurring. One of the fundamental things with fitness and nutrition is the simple fact of cleaning up your act and paying attention to what things do. That's what the elimination diet does. Those of you that have followed my protocols, that's what testing foods do. It gets you paying attention to, oh, this is what happens to my body when I eat this. I have diarrhea. I get migraines. Every time I have this, I feel achy and sluggish. It gets you paying attention to what's actually going on in your body. Most people don't pay attention. They just allow things to happen. And if their body hurts or they have a headache, oh, my elbow hurts, they take some Motrin. Oh, my head hurts, they take some Tylenol. They just cover it up rather than, why do I have a headache? Oh, I haven't drank that much water today. I'm probably dehydrated. And rather than going and popping a pill, you fucking deal with the headache, but you chug water and eventually it'll go away. You can't be masking the effects. You have to deal with the problem and solve what the fundamental problem is. If you have back pain, taking ibuprofen isn't the answer. It's doing glute activation and mobility work so you fix the problem that's causing the pain. If you have knee tendonitis or plantar fasciitis, you work on your posture with corrective exercises so the imbalance isn't there anymore, so the pain and the irritation goes away. You have to fix the fucking problem. You gotta stop putting band-aids on everything. Thanks, Dougie. Appreciate it. Bro, that's why I love your podcast. You're into the science of training. I'm into living a better lifestyle and not complicating shit. It's really not complicated. It's very, very simple and straightforward, but everyone wants to make it complicated because you can sell people things when it's complicated. If you create a problem that doesn't exist, you can sell something for the problem. That's what fucking, what was it? Was it Viagra? Viagra was a problem. Erectile dysfunction. Right? Erectile dysfunction was a problem that didn't exist. They created that. That was a marketing campaign. They actually marketed that. That was done by a marketing company. That's not science. Erectile dysfunction is something that was created by a marketing company in order to promote Viagra because they did that for blood pressure or for heart attacks or something like that. And they found that when you took it, you got a fucking raging boner. So they marketed towards erectile dysfunction and they created this whole fake thing in order to start prescribing it because they made this drug that didn't do what they wanted it to do. So they created an issue around the fucking problem, quote unquote, that didn't exist, that this pill would solve. And boom, billions and billions of dollars later. So, erectile dysfunction, you mean not eating healthy, not sleeping, not exercising? Yeah, that's why you're not getting a fucking boner. Maybe not being attracted to someone. There's a lot of factors. A lot of it has to do with not taking care of yourself. If you eat like crap and you don't exercise and you're miserable in your fucking work and your life, yeah, it's going to be hard to get a fucking hard on, I would think, right? You're not going to be all turned on all the time. You're going to be stressed out and fucking miserable. That's why you're not getting a bony. That's why you don't need a fucking pill. You need to start taking care of your health. Biatch. Man biatches too. Explains why my knee and hammies are hurting on one side. It sure can. If you have glute deactivation, if you have glute activation problems, it's not always both sides. It could be one side more than the other. You might lean on one side more often. You might lean to the left or lean to the right, and certain things are going to be tighter. We have two sides of the body. So not only do you have the front and back side, okay, the back is weak. The front is too tight. We're sitting down too much. I got to work the back side. There's also left and right. So you're not completely symmetrical. And there could be different tensions on left and right side. So it could be rotating you differently. And sometimes some people are squatting and they're shifting to the side. It's called an asymmetrical shift. And those things can cause a ton of problems, especially like in the neck and the shoulders, up the body. even down the body with the knee. And a lot of you probably have, if you have a knee problem or a knee injury, you probably tend to hurt the same knee over and over again. Or you have the same problem with the same ankle over and over again, or the same shoulder. It's always the same side, the same side, the same side. That's a fucking sign that something's not balanced. It's not, you're not having repeated injury pains. You're not having injuries over and over and over again, just magically. Oh, you're a shitty person. Oh, I got the short end of the stick. I just always have back pain on my right side. It's because you have an imbalance and you're not addressing it. So of course it's going to keep on coming back. You have pain, you take ibuprofen, you rest a little bit. After a week, it feels better and you go back to doing what you normally did. And in a couple of weeks, you start having pain again. Big surprise. You didn't do fucking jack shit to fix it. People expect when you take a pill or you stop doing a certain activity, the pain goes away. Of course it's going to go away. You're not doing the shit that's causing the pain. If you're not working your arm, you're not working your legs, of course the tendonitis and, oh, my elbow doesn't hurt anymore. Okay, so I go back to the gym nice and easy. It's not going to hurt for a little bit. And then when the rubbing keeps on happening, eventually it's going to flare up and then you're going to have problems again. Oh, it keeps on happening again. Keep on pulling my hamstring. Oh, I threw out my back again, because you're not fixing the problem. You're not fixing where the problem's starting. You're just doing the same shit over and over again. It's the same thing. You're just looking at a wall, running into it, and then, oh, rubbing your head. Man, I wonder why my head hurts so much. Oh, I don't know. That's weird. That's weird. Let me wait a week or two until my bump goes away. My head really hurts. And then 2 weeks, you look at the wall like, huh, look at that wall. And you run right into it again. Oh, man, I wonder why my head hurts. That's fucking weird. I'm not going to run to that wall for another week or two. And then in a week or two, oh, my head feels better. Oh, there's a wall. Boom. And you run into the fucking wall again. That's literally what it is. And whether it takes 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, it's going to come back. It's going to come back because you're not fixing the shit that's causing it. Cindy, I work in emergency services, long shifts at a desk, but we have treadmills and bikes that can be used as the standing desks. Medicine ball and free weights at my desk. Cool. That's nice. I like it. That's nice. Yeah. I know people do the treadmill thing and they're walking while they're at a computer. That's kind of a complicated setup. Not everyone can afford the desk like that or the treadmill or has that kind of setup. I think that's cool. I don't know. I mean, you have to get used to it. You're walking really slow though. You're not walking fast, of course. You're not doing like serious cardio, but you're moving. It's better than sometimes standing still. But I do notice I didn't elevate this desk. I had it elevated in the other room, but the desk is like a 3-part desk and it's huge. And I don't want to take I have to move furniture out of here to bring that in. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for me. And to elevate this, I need a bigger desk. So I need to like literally update equipment, but I'll get one of those adjustable desks and stuff next time. But I'm sitting on a ball, so I do move around a little bit, but I get up regularly. I set timers for like 20 minutes, half an hour, get up and I do stretching for my hips and I do a lot of glute activation stuff, of course. I don't just talk about it. I practice what I preach. So after I do this, I'm going to do some yoga, do my yoga routine and do some other things before we got the glute masterclass tonight. And then we'll rock that. And for those of you that are already in Swole X, it's going to be probably 8 to 9-ish. You know, it'll be, if anything, it'll be at least half an hour, 40 minutes, maybe longer. You know, we'll take a lot of Q&A, so that's probably going to be the longest part. But we'll go over all the exercise, the important ones, take some questions and stuff. And this is going to be, you know, part of a series that we're going to do. You can't do everything in one class, in one session. You know, we're going to get real started, get everyone on the same page, get everyone understanding what it's all about and where to start and how to use, you know, the training protocols, how to actually approach it and how to execute on it. And then, you know, moving forward, we'll do more advanced stuff. But there's always progressions and regressions for everyone, depending on where you're starting from and where you're trying to go. Ben Loop, my glutes have been torn from the bone. Ooh. Max Perry, SP, and medial SP. You mean the gluteus maximus and medius? Just scar tissue holding it on. Can I still build glute muscles? Dude, I don't know what is going on with you. Your glutes have been torn and there's only scar tissue holding it on. I don't know what's going on, so I can't tell you. Can you still build glute muscles? I'm sure there's more than just scar tissue holding it on. Scar tissue doesn't just magically like hold shit and you work it and have it work normally. I don't know what your situation is or if you had an MRI and if that's like a diagnosis. But if you still have glute muscles on your body, I'm assuming you can still grow them. I don't know the details of what you're dealing with. Motorcycle wreck. Ooh, damn, that's bad, man. So I don't know. I don't know what your personal situation is. I mean, people can have things like nerve damage that affects. I'm sure you've probably either known or seen someone, you have a car accident or some kind of damage where you have nerve damage and that muscle just kind of gets like it disappears. And the reason is if you have nerve damage on a certain side of your body, you get severe atrophy because the nerve tissue isn't activated properly. It's not triggering the muscle. So your body it can't grow the muscle because it can't work the muscle. So they told you that it's torn and there's no ligament or bone or tendon. I mean, not ligament, but there's no tendon there. Like the tendon's gone. I mean, a tendon attaches muscle to bone. I don't know anything about scar tissue attaching muscle to bone. That's out of my scope of practice, in terms of that's very, very medical. But if you still have muscle, like if you can still contract it and use it, I'm assuming it's a functioning glute. I mean, it's going to be a little bit different. I mean, you would know if you didn't have a glute muscle there, you didn't have any ability to activate it if you're paralyzed on that side. One of the things that people have, and one of the issues with having glutes that aren't functioning properly for anyone, not just you, Ben, is that you have other muscles that do hip extension. The glutes are the primary mover. We call them the primary mover, but there are other muscles that also do the same movement. The problem is if you're sitting down so often, people tend to get really overactivation of their hamstrings, and the hamstrings start to work more than they should because the hamstrings help the glutes. But if the glutes aren't working, it's like the assistant taking over for the CEO. The CEO is on vacation, the glutes are the CEO, and the CEO is on vacation, so the glutes leave and the hamstrings are like, shit, I got to take up all this work myself, and they're not qualified. So the hamstrings start to work too much. The glutes aren't firing properly. You don't see anything as a problem because you're still moving, running, working, but then you pull your hamstring or your hamstrings just get really, really tight and you're not getting the development in your glutes the way you'd like it. You're trying to do all these things like squats and lunges and all this leg press, whatever, and you're not getting glute development because your body is not triggering the glutes properly. And that's the reason why the activation portion is important. You have to turn them back on before you can put all these pieces together. You need the glutes to be working independently and really be firing. And then once they're like, okay, you woke them up from their slumber like freaking Sleeping Beauty, and then you can kind of put them back with the entire puzzle and then teach the body, okay, now when we do these movements, we need to use these muscles too, the glutes too. And the body goes, oh, and you have to integrate all of them together. And then you'll start seeing more and more improvements in your strength training and all over your training and how you feel and everything. I'm going to start taking a resistance band to work, activate my muscles after standing for too long. Sure. I mean, there's a lot of great benefit to doing something as simple as maybe a 5, 10, 15-minute yoga routine, in your work. Considering you don't need any equipment, you can literally get up from your desk, go get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, and then do like a downward dog, upward dog, kind of like stretch a little bit, bend and hang, and do a little bit of like a couple sets of like glute activation. It'll take you less than like 3 minutes just to do a little bit of like movement. You do that a couple times a day, it adds up. So all you're trying to do essentially is create a new environment for your body where you are more active more regularly because you're sitting down regularly. And rather than just sitting down, boom, sitting down for 10 hours. And then next day, boom, sitting down for 10 hours. There's no balance. And even if you activate your glutes, think about it. If you activate your glutes for half an hour a day, which is significant, you're still sitting down for 10 hours a day. That's why your attention to what you do during your glute activation is so important, and doing it properly and consistently is so important because it's like David and Goliath. You're fighting this huge repetitive movement every day routine where you're just sitting down, sitting down, sitting down, sitting down. So you need to actually be consciously aware of targeted glute training because you're trying to fight this Goliath. So that being said, let's get into this tonight. Remember, everyone, the link is in the post description here on Facebook, and it's also in my bio on Instagram. Okay, and I also put in my Instagram story where you can swipe up. You can check it out also. You can go directly to all the membership options, swolenormousx.com, and click on memberships. You can get in, remember, 7-day free trial with the basic membership. You get in for the masterclass tonight. Don't wait till the last minute because I got to approve you so you can see it streaming live and engage with the private Facebook community. So please don't wait till the last minute because I don't want you signing up at 8:05 and I'm going to be already in the masterclass and you'll have to watch a replay. But I want to get you in there with the Q&A because that's the fire. That's really where I can make sure that all your questions are answered and you understand exactly what's going on. Because if you practice and you focus on progressing and taking your glute activation, your training, and your awareness of your dynamic posture to the next level, if you focus on what we talk about tonight, you are going to really make leaps and bounds towards improving your posture, improving your alignment, decreasing issues with your lower back, decreasing issues and recurrence of issues with your lower back and knees and feet, neck, everything. Okay. It makes a huge difference and super important stuff. So I look forward to seeing you tonight. Remember, swolenormousx.com, and you can get your 7-day free trial. Jump in masterclass tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, just a few hours away. Don't wait till last minute. I'll see you inside, and I'll see everyone else tomorrow for episode 910 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleevescast, Slaycast, Taintcast, and Glutecast. Ooh, in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow and see most of you tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time for the Glute Masterclass. Peace, McGeese, Deuce, Magoose, Papa Swolio. Oh, out.